Welcome back, everyone. This is Dave from the Korman Productions Deep Dive TV podcast with my co-host Stacie, and we got special guest Peter Millard here with us. That would be Lester from the recent season of Revival, who recently turned out to be the big bad of the season.
Ooh.
And we're gonna be talking a lot of spoilers for season one.
You already just gave a big one before our spoiler alert.
Right? I guess so. You're right. So yeah.
So we're going to be talking about the season one finale of Revival. If you have not finished watching this season, make sure you go watch episode 10 and then come back and give this video a watch. Revival can be streamed in the US on Sci-Fi and Peacock, and in Canada on CTV and Crave.
All right, Peter, welcome to the channel. Why don't you talk a little bit about yourself?
Lovely to be here. Yes, I'm Peter Millard. I play Lester in Revival. I live in Niagara-on-the-Lake, Ontario, Canada. And where are you again?
We're actually in Connecticut.
In Connecticut, okay.
Mhm.
I'm here in my beautiful, beautiful home. My wonderful wife is off in Charlottetown right now, doing about to wrap up the last 2 weeks of a new musical there called Telltale Harbor. And she's been away for 4 months, so
Oh, wow.
I'm looking very much forward to her being back. She gets to be back for about 10 days, and then she heads off to Toronto with the same production to play at the Royal Alex for 6 weeks there. Yeah. What else can I tell you? We have 2 cats, although we call them kittens, Lucy and Simon. And Simon is called Simon Millard because he has no impulse control. And Lucy is called Lucy Jones, Gabrielle's last name, because she has a guilt complex and a sense of propriety. So there you go. What else can I tell you? You tell me what you'd like to know.
Well, how about you talk about how you ended up casting Revival, what that experience was like?
It's like it often happens this way. You do a tape for something, put it away, forget it, because something may happen, something may not. You don't hear about it for a while, and then all of a sudden there's some interest, and 2 days later, you're cast. It was pretty. Yeah, it was quite a surprise, actually. I was off in a place called Sudbury, Ontario, working on a film, a Jason Biggs film, when I got the call from my agent telling me about it. And interestingly enough, I had auditioned for 2 different parts in Revival, and I mistook what my agent told me, and she said, I thought that I had been cast as Mr. Dittman, whatever, can't remember Dittman's first name.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And I started a conversation with the makeup people, the wonderful Trina Brink, who is the head of makeup in Revival. And she said, "Okay, great, yeah. Well, tell me all about what you think, about the character of Lester." And I said, "Oh, there's a mistake. No. I've been cast as Dittman." She said, "Ooh, hang on. I'll get back to you." And I said, "No." Anyway, I'm very happy it worked out this way. I'm quite delighted. So yeah, it was very a very fast process, once it began. Yeah. Lots of people had been cast already, and they were, I think, already certainly in pre-production, if they weren't actually shooting some stuff already by the time I got cast. So yeah, pretty quickly I was on my way to St. John and back 6 times.
Wow.
There we go.
I would definitely say that Lester was a much bigger role than Dittman.
Yeah.
Yes. I have to admit, I was happy that in fact that was a mistake. Yeah. pretty
Yeah,
pleased.
this character actually lasted the season as opposed to like getting his neck snapped in episode 3.
Well, that's quite true. Now, he's a lovely man who played Ditman, and he has been the star of probably 3 or 4 television series, at least. So he's had lots and lots and lots of screen time. So yeah, I didn't feel too badly that's all he had. Yeah.
So, did you know the whole time what Lester's involvement was in Revival Day, or did you not find out until you got the scripts for the second half of episodes?
Um, I arrived. It all happened so very, very quickly. I arrived on the first day and met Aaron very, very quickly. And I said, I have no idea what the story is. And we were racing from one place on location into into the church, I think, where Arlene, um, yes, Arlene climbs into the. Oh, yeah, that's not a spoiler. Where Arlene climbs into the casket, and then they get immolated.
We're at the point where there's no more spoilers, so
That's right. That's right. Okay, so we're good. We're good. Um, and I was walking with him, and he was very, very quickly trying to give me an overview of the story. I couldn't feel badly that I didn't know anything about it before. Um, there was just no information at all. So I got quickly caught up to speed, met a couple of people, and then went off to wardrobe, I think. I think that's where it was. And the next day I began. Yeah. And I have at this moment right now, I have no idea of the linear sort of like timeline of it for the most part. Um, yeah. My first day, I was in the church for the burning of the casket. And in fact, Jeannie was supposed to be in that scene with me. There was supposed to be a brief little scene of us arriving at the church together, hand in hand, and then sitting down in the church. But I guess she simply wasn't available. Lenore Zan, who is like an amazing person. She's been a federal politician in Canada, as well as a very, very well-known actor and singer for years and years and years. Well, she's not that many years. She's not that old, of course. Um, uh, but anyway, she wasn't available. She was probably doing a lot of Comic-Con stuff because she is Rogue in X-Men.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
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 right. We heard that before, yeah.
yeah. Now, you haven't talked to her, have you? Yeah.
No.
we haven't had the pleasure to do that yet. No.
No, she's terrific. She's terrific. Anyway, she just simply wasn't available, and so there wasn't anything really focusing on me in that scene because, of course, I didn't know exactly what had come beforehand. Anyway, it was too bad because I've been looking forward to seeing Lenore again. I knew her from years ago. Uh, and that same day, then I switched out of a suit and into my jazzercise outfit. Um, and it wasn't until 1:30 in the morning that we shot the jazzercise uh, sequence. And they also squeezed the oh my God, the Czech brothers approaching. I think it was the
Oh,
Czech
yeah.
brothers approaching Wanda at the end of a jazzercise class.
That was actually Blaine's Goons.
Yeah,
Oh,
that was
right. Okay.
Brandon and
Sheldon Garland.
Yeah, whatever his character's name was.
Well,
Doug.
good.
Brandon
Doug,
and
yeah.
Doug, that was. We've talked to them.
Okay.
We've heard that story about them filming that scene at 1:30 in the morning.
Oh, I see. Okay. Okay. Yeah. I felt especially, well, I have a lot of respect for, there was a group of 8 actual jazzercise instructors and participants who had been hired to be the people
Oh,
in
wow.
uh, and I think they arrived at about 5 o'clock in the afternoon and waited until 1:30 in the morning to do the scene. They were wonderful, very very nice people, really really terrific people. But they were very patient. Um, and by that time, I couldn't do anything but have tons of energy in my short shorts and my t-shirt, and I don't know. Did I have a sweatband as well? I don't know.
I think you did
I
have like a
think
red band.
so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Something like that. And the director of the first 5 episodes, Amanda Rowe, I, there isn't anybody on the production, I don't think, that I could say, wasn't wonderful, wasn't terrific. But actually, at the Jazzercise thing, that's when I met Amanda really properly for the first time. And in my head, I had been picking music, so I had a whole playlist of things, and she said, "We'll do such and such." I said, well, "Could we do this?" Or let me choose something. And so I ran through a bit of a list, and then we came up with "Dancing in the Streets," and she was good with that. I don't know if we hear that. Hopefully, we heard a little bit of that in the episode, but I'm not sure. Anyway, yeah, she was maintaining her good humor. That was a very long day for her and for the whole crew. That's for sure. There we go. Huh. Yeah, over to you.
All right. So we're just actually kind of curious as to what the difference is that you find between being a stage performer and being in film or television. Which do you find more challenging?
They're challenging in different ways. I'm sure that you heard that before. Um, I suppose one of the challenging things about the theater is that it's up to 8 shows a week. You keep doing it, and you keep doing it, and you keep doing it, and you have to work yourself ready to perform each night. The benefit of that, of course, is that if you screw up, you get a chance to do it again. Even on the night, you get a chance to use a little bit of your spontaneous intelligence. Hopefully, there is that spontaneous intelligence. With theater, you have much longer time to allow things to sink in. I have enormous respect for film and television actors who have been at it for a long time, who are able to very, very quickly see their way through a script. It takes me a little bit longer than that, but I enjoy the text very much, one way or the other, whether it's film or whether it's theater. The Because I spent oh dear, 35 seasons at the Shaw Festival and 13 with Toronto Workshop Productions. What is that? That comes to 48, doesn't it? And then like another handful or so of years doing regional theater. So what are we at? 48, 50, 55 years in the theater. I spent 55 years in the theater. but between seasons at the
Oh,
Shaw
wow.
Festival, I would go back to Toronto and audition for film and television. And I would usually book one, maybe two, but a lot of them just day things because I hadn't been in the scene. People didn't know me that well. So I would get one shot to go in and be a day player. And it it's an incredible skill working for the camera. And it takes an enormous amount of bravery as well. When you've got a camera this close to you, to be able to concentrate, to think about the lines, to think about what it is that you've already done, what you're about to shoot, um, and not to give too much away. It's it's a huge skill, and it's an incredible discipline as well. Um, the stillness is so much different from the theater. But you know that. I mean, you both have been actors, have you?
Well, not
Not so
really.
much.
I mean, I acted in high school in some plays and stuff like that, but mainly
Okay.
we just do a podcast. But yeah.
Okay. Well, but and have you done any work for a camera at all, for a movie camera or I mean, just videos, right? I mean, you're doing it
I mean,
now,
yeah, I've done some. Yeah, yeah. Like doing videos, and when I went to college, I did some of that too. So
right?
yeah.
And you, Stacie, did you?
um, Not really. No, no.
Okay. So, well, I'm
Outside
just
of, like this.
good. I'm asking the question back to you because you two have had an awful lot of experience now because you watch what you've taped, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So you learn things from that, and it's the same thing with I think it's the same thing with film and television. You know, there are lots of actors who will, well-known actors who will say, "Oh, I never watch my stuff." Well, they did it one time, and there was a time uh, when you would go and see the Rushes. Uh, you know what I'm talking about, right?
The dailies, you mean?
Yeah, the dailies. Yes,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay. Yep.
uh, we knew them as rushes. Um, so that's something that people often went to see. So you got an idea of what was shot that day. You know, you kind of learn from that. Um, I think both disciplines are really, really hard. So there we go.
Do you have a favorite theater production?
Oh my goodness gracious! They've
I
been.
imagine you've done a little bit of everything in all that time.
I have. Oh, it's I was only at the Stratford Festival for 1 year, where they specialize in Shakespeare. Much it's a much wider sort of mandate now than it used to be. But I suppose if you ask somebody who has acted a lot of Shakespeare, they can tell you which Shakespeare play is their favorite or the one that they've always wanted to do. Um, the Shaw Festival, used to still does sort of specialize in the productions of George Bernard Shaw. And so, sure, there are some productions of his. You Never Can Tell is a play that I always looked forward, hoping that I would get to play the waiter, who is the central character around which a lot of stuff revolves. And I finally did. I got to play that. I got to do an amazing production of a play called The Petrified Forest. Mean anything to you? Movie? Humphrey Bogart? No,
Oh,
no.
I do
Okay.
know Humphrey Bogart. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. The Petrified Forest. That was an amazing show. I just finished just finished 2 or 3 months ago. I finished a production of a musical called Waitress, written by Sarah Bareilles. Um, I think it premiered on Broadway in 2013, maybe something like that. Not sure. Um, Here's an interesting thing. I keep getting cast as old white men who die. Can you believe that? It's surprising to me because, oh, wait a second. Yeah, okay. Now I get it. Anyway, uh, so I had a lovely role in Waitress as an old white man who died. But I had a gorgeous solo, and just to pay homage for the time being, my wonderful agent Penny Noble, that I was with for over 40 years. She passed away toward the end of June of this year after being ill for a remarkably short time, having been diagnosed not long after Christmas,
Wow.
and far too young. But she told me that one of her favorite musicals, or maybe her favorite musical, was Waitress. And when she passed along the audition for me to audition for Waitress, I said, "Oh, I'm not sure I can sing that song. It's a bit high." She said, "Go, do the audition, do the audition," and I got to do the show. So when we started rehearsals, um, I already knew that she was ill. I loved her very, very much, and she was an amazing, wonderful woman. Um, so every day of rehearsal, I guess it was 13 weeks that I spent on that show from beginning to end. We played in two different locations. She was with me every night. Anyway, so there was a celebration of life for her 2 days ago on Sunday, and I was asked to sing my solo from Waitress at that, and it was
Wow.
a huge honor. So I would count Waitress as being one of my most recent favorite shows. Yeah.
All
Over.
right.
Yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead. Yes. Go ahead.
We should
But
probably take this discussion to revival. um, all right. So in the second to last episode, you made a call to Wayne because you were alerting him that M was with Wayne's goons at the church.
yes.
In the finale, when Dana and Wayne are on their way to the church, you end up calling out to them and getting all of you guys captured. Now, given what we learned later in the episode that Lester is basically the big bad, do you think that Lester did that on purpose?
Yeah. Yes. I think so. I think so. There's not too much that I can say behind that. It's just now that you ask me, though, um, I needed to. I needed them to think that I was just being typical Lester with putting my foot in my mouth, you know. Um, I listened to your coverage of episode 10, and it was most interesting. You know, when you guys were talking about the things that you did understand that you didn't understand, or was that supposed to happen, or that sort of thing. And it really was fascinating because it lent me to be asking some questions and think, okay, I think I know the answer to that. I think I know the answer to that. But at the time, in some cases, it was difficult to pre-plan. And I'm sure that you've heard this from people before when they're talking about filming. You can look at the scene on the page, and you can get an image in your head of what it's going to be. But once you get to the set, so much can change in a heartbeat. Because what you pictured as being out in the country could be like a very isolated area in the middle of the city. And it's not in the country at all. And you think, oh, okay, right. I have to adjust that. And then just because of the terrain, because of the weather, because of the access to the building where you're shooting, so that when I come around the corner and I say, hey, Sheriff, over here, the geography doesn't quite make sense for them being led in to the front of the church. But it does make sense that, because we don't see me being led in the front of the church. I guess we just assume that. I think I said something to Stacie. I think I did when we were just sort of texting back and forth. That, gosh, maybe that was somebody else I was talking to. That the production was meant to run with no commercials whatsoever. So each episode was supposed to be probably 5 to 10 minutes longer.
Wow.
Meant that there would be more material available to be in each episode. And I have no idea how things sort of like fell out, that it's all a mystery. It's all a mystery. What producers do, what the content creators do, what the writers do, what they have to put up with, the challenges that they are given, and how they have to adapt as well. And so all of a sudden, they needed to go back and edit scripts as they were going forward. I think about midway through the shoot, they realized that the format was going to be different. And so that meant that, I mean, personally, there was a scene with me and Lenore, with Jeannie and Lester, flirting. And this was after Rose went missing. And pamphlets were being put up all over my property. Now, was that actually there? Was that a bit of the information? I can't remember if that actually was a part of the information. But
that would probably be episode 8, right? So you were in a flashback scene in episode 8 when Rose went missing.
Perhaps so. Perhaps so.
Yeah, I don't recall seeing that scene.
I don't recall seeing you at all in the flashbacks. Yeah.
Well, I was sitting on the edge of Jeannie's desk, flirting with her, and Dana was there eating a donut, of course. I was telling her that, but I was complaining that, I felt very badly about this poor girl who was missing, but I was complaining about how unsightly all of these posters were all over my property, and I'd like them taken down. That scene had to be cut. We never even shot it, so we didn't even get there. And I think the director felt that the information was already somewhere in the show. But personally, it was a part of Lester and Jeannie that we didn't get to see. And it was kind of I thought it was kind of important as well, because if you find out at the end who Lester is, it's even doubly nasty. It's even doubly nasty that I'm sitting there complaining about
Right.
leaflets, everything like that, and saying,
Yeah. Wow.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm sorry, did I answer a question? I can't remember.
You wandered away from it, but
I did. Well,
Question.
that's me.
That's
That's
okay
Lester.
you answered it at the beginning, I think, and then went somewhere else. But that's cool.
Okay, good.
That was definitely interesting.
Yeah, I wish we had gotten to see more of Lester and Jeannie together. There were very
Yeah,
few scenes where they actually got to interact.
I think those were the only two, were the ones of us, of me, the two of us arriving at the church, um, hand in hand, and then the two of us flirting. Those are the two that I know were supposed to be there that they couldn't fit in. Um, we did have the scene of me wanting to talk to the sheriff and telling him, but what I
Yes.
saw that night and everything like that. So we saw Jeannie and me in that, but there we go. Okay. Sorry, I'm going to shut up now. Over to you.
So, of all the scenes that you filmed that you were in, do you have a favorite?
Wow. What's going through my mind? Maybe I'll get around to answering your question, but what's going through my mind is once again, let me go back just a little bit. So we finished shooting the first week of December of last year, and then 3, 4, 5 times maybe between January and whatever, I don't know, what is it, and June, maybe May. I went in to do some ADR, additional dialogue recording. Some cases it was new lines that would help to be off stage, off screen, and help to inform a scene that we'd already shot. Sometimes it was to match the dialogue with the movement and the lips, because something had not been recorded quite as clearly. Um, anyway, there were two or three things that needed to be taken care of that way. I'm an old white man. What can I tell you? I'm losing my train of thought. Really, what I wanted to say was that again, I have an enormous respect for the editors, the sound editors, and the film editors, the video editors, for how they chose takes. So just because I was watching it, some of the stuff for the first time, the very, very first time, the way it was edited together, and saying, okay, wow, great. They made me look very, very good. I did. I ended up really, really liking the scene where I come in beaten up and talking about Wanda and talking about old people being forgotten. Because of course it's Lester's, it's his thing is to live as long as possible, but don't ignore me just because I'm old, because we still have lives. And in fact, that scene, Aaron and I had I needed to ask him about some of the lines, because it wasn't making sense to me, my through line to get from the beginning of that scene and talking about Wanda. Anyway, it was really wonderful. I enjoyed very much that, wrestling the two of us with with the text. And I think that we ended up getting the right bits of information into it. And so I liked very much how they edited that scene. So I was very happy with that. I was looking very much forward to the 10th episode for the last scene. It was I think about 14 pages long, and there were, I would say, 5 versions of it. And I got script for that about 2 months before we shot it. And I started learning the lines, and I assured them that I was going to be able to have it all in my head. And they would say, well, things might change, blah, blah, blah. Then a different version would come out. I wrap my head around that and start to learn those changes. 3rd version, 4th version. I even sat down and wrote a version myself, because there were some things that I really, really loved that they had tossed out. So I wanted to sneak that back in and maybe nudge something that they had put in there out. Anyway, so I spent a lot of time with that, writing it, rewriting it, reading it, understanding it, memorizing it. And then it all happened sort of like in one day. And it was a monster scene. It was a monster scene. And there wasn't the time. I'm sure, again, that all of this, that they'll do 1 or 2 or 3 master shots of the scene where it's just very, very wide, and they get a general geography of how people are moving, and things can change wildly in that as well from what they may have learned. And I think we shot a couple of master scenes, and then they felt the need to cut chunks out of the script, and that we were doing that on the fly. And eventually the director, the 2 producers, the AD, and the wonderful script supervisor, Angie Mills, who was quite amazing and saved my bacon on a number of occasions. I said, you guys go ahead. You fix the script. You cut whatever you want, and then give it to me, and I'll try to do that. So that was a bit of a struggle, because I wasn't able to very smoothly go from A to Z in the first couple of goes. But we got there. Then after those masters, then you expect to have lots of time to do close-ups and 2 shots and all that sort of stuff. And sorry, maybe I'm telling you much more than you ever want to know.
No, it's good stuff.
But the time got squeezed, got squozed, and I didn't feel like I'd had enough time to really take care of it. But as it turned out, they're wizards. Again, in editing and in everything, they're absolute wizards. So I think they did a terrific job in trying to wrap things up in that last episode. I mean, do you feel the same way?
Absolutely.
That it was quite a bit, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there was an awful lot in that scene.
I think I had to watch it like 10 times to fully understand it.
Okay, well, that's amazing. I mean,
Yeah.
I was stunned to think that you guys had seen, had already seen the episode, and I had no idea what it was going to look like. Um, so anyway, I ended up being pleased with it. Um, okay, ask some more. What do you want to know? What I haven't
Well,
already.
when Lester is basically like, I'm doing this for the world. Did Lester really believe that, or was he just really just trying to get M to help him and basically steal her life force? Was he really trying to help the world, or was he just trying to help himself?
By the time we came to shoot that, I had seen the graphic novel part. Have you read it?
I've read some of it. I didn't get to the end yet. I'm
Uh-huh.
like really early.
Okay, well, Lester's End is different.
Mm,
Um, it's from what I recall. I mean, we have given us a good thick compendium. Um, but my last scene in the graphic novel is I'm in the hospital in bed, and Dana has brought me flowers.
Wow.
And because I am dying, there's no doubt about that. I am dying because I tried to save. Okay, you've got to read it because I'm now twisted between our version and that. All I can say though is that Dana, as far as I remember, Dana had brought me flowers and was saying, sorry, it's working out this way, but I know your heart was in the right place. I'm pretty sure that that's what the novel said. So that was certainly in my mind, and for me, I needed it to be actually. Of course, it's my old ass that Of course it is. But as I say in the scene, no, it. Can you imagine? Well, I remember you saying that you thought that I was playing God when I said this, but I'm thinking the gift that you, M, could be giving to people, that you could be giving to the world. Can you imagine? Well, if not life everlasting, uh, so many more years. It's been Lester's. Uh, Lester had a life full of sex, drugs, and rock and roll. I don't know if you knew that before.
you got a
Uh,
little glimpse of that in the finale.
Pardon me?
You got a little glimpse of that in the finale in the
Uh, he,
tape.
and he, but he realized that he was deteriorating. He had spent time in the army, but it was all about killing instead of preserving life, which he hated. That's why he left the army. And so I began a life as a fitness guru. So that's what I was trying to pass on to how to live as long as possible your best self. All of a sudden, you hear this lecture where it's kind of like transformative that Aaron and I happened to hear about the possibility of, yeah, like staying alive, maybe forever. Um, so I think my anger with Aaron for being such a jerk. Um, I think that answers your question. That it's not just it wasn't just me because I invited him in. I brought him. I moved him and his wife to Wausau. I paid for things, and it was something that we were going to do together the right way. But yeah, anyway, he went after Rose too soon, too soon. She didn't have to die. We learned something from it, but well, I think she didn't have to die. But anyway, there we are. Sorry. No.
So you think that Lester is coming from a place of sincerity, basically?
Yes, I do. Yep, absolutely. That's the only way. That's the only way that I can see it. That's the only way that I can be Lester. The turn at the end with the mask. I'm not sure that I knew how it was going to happen, that Lester knew what was going to happen in the pool. I expected the being to come. And in fact, the being does get into me part way. We're part way through the process, and I get a little bit of it. That's why the eyes are what they are. But her mother kind of like, I think, interrupted things, right? Anyway, yes. Okay. I've said enough. Next, what else do you want to know?
So you want to talk about how filming your heart getting ripped out was filmed?
We don't actually see it happen, do we?
No.
No, there wasn't. I'm sorry to be disappointing you, but there wasn't much to it. There really wasn't. What can I tell you? You got to see. Ultimately, you got to see me strangling Dana, her ripping off the mask, and it happening. I didn't get to see. Well, of course, I didn't get to see Em with my heart in her hand. And a little thing in the back of my head sort of said, "Oh well, it's revival. Maybe Lester survives. Maybe he can." I don't think so. I don't think that's going to happen.
Anything's possible in sci-fi.
That's true. But
watching that scene play out, how do you think it turned out?
I'm sorry, say that again.
I said, just watching how the scene came out in the final cut, how do you think that, what was it like watching that? Seeing the heart and all that?
I loved it. I liked it very, very much. I'm where we shot was dark and dank and hard to get the geography in the head, but I'm sorry, once again, they were brilliant. They were brilliant with how what they put together, and I was very moved by the ending. Nobody knows. Sorry, the creators maybe know. The creators. They maybe know where they're headed. They have an idea of what the arc is going to be. But I think it was really, really well done, and intriguing. Every episode actually had a great cliffhanger, and this was I think no exception. very mysterious. What what is oh my God, what's the character's name?
M.
No, not M.
Oh,
Nathia.
Nithya.
Thea. What is so is has M healed Nathia? Or is she in the process of healing her? Or who is Nathia? Or
What is
did,
Nithya?
what is Nathia? Or did Aaron and Nathia secretly do some sort of experimenting that actually worked out that they didn't tell Lester about? But Nathia was still getting chemo. Why is she knitting the hood for M?
In Iceland.
Exactly. I don't know who wrote the music. I found myself weeping a little bit at the end. Well, that was partly because my lives, both Peter's and Lester's, had come to an end, and my life with my family of revival had come to an end. It was pretty exciting. I looked forward to seeing each episode. I really did, and it was nice to think. Um, Sorry, this is my wife who's in as I said, in Charlottetown, Prince Edward Island. We usually chat, and she's dinged a couple of times. Let me just doing the podcast. There we go. Good. Yes. Anyway, I think it's a very intriguing ending, and there's no doubt that it leaves it wide open for a second season.
There's also room for Lester to come back. I mean,
There's always room
Yeah.
for flashbacks, and
Right.
we definitely don't know the whole story yet. So I see a lot of room for them to still give us more of that.
Tell me, Stacie, where do you think the story might go?
I have no idea.
No?
I mean, really, like you said, it's what the heck is going on with M and Nathia, right? Obviously, there's a whole nother thing going on, a whole nother level to this, which possibly, like you said, is something that Nathia and Aaron had going on. Because everything we know, the audience knows, is based on what Lester knew, right? We've heard it from him. But if he doesn't know everything,
Right.
there's definitely a lot more to the story, I think.
But it certainly seems to me, though, that M she was enriched by the being, she wasn't like joined with her soul and then off into purgatory or into the ether or whatever, which is what usually happens. So obviously, because she began Revival Day, it was something in her that was so spectacularly special is the word that it seems so trite to say it, but that was the word that kept coming up in the text, in the script. And that's it. Like, there's something special about this person. There's something special about Romy Weltman as well. She's amazing. She was such a I enjoyed every minute that I spent with her, and we spent a fair amount of time in the last days. I think I was there for about 8 days in the last shooting time, and we got together for coffee and ran the scene and had dinner, which she instigated. Anyway, she's a wonderful actor and a wonderful person. Um, but her eyes have the blue in them as well, right? At the end. So Maybe she is going to go and save the world. Maybe she is going to, maybe she's going to choose other special people to share the power with. Perhaps they, as a team, will become a kind of revival superheroes. Who knows? Um, but I think it's a very exciting prospect. I know nothing about whether there's a second season or anything like that. Do you, in your years of doing this, do you get advance knowledge, or do you get alerted as soon as?
We would get the press release directly
Aha,
from NBC Universal.
okay.
So we would be among the first people to know. But once that comes out, it gets out pretty quick.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Um, well, my fingers are crossed for them because they're a wonderfully imaginative, um, I think caring, invested, inventive group of people. And I think it really deserves more.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we definitely agree with that. When we went into this series, we had no idea what we were even watching. Well, we were given episodes and we were like, let's check this out. And we got very deeply invested in it.
Okay, I think that's good. That's good. Yeah.
And
Oh, I
like
also,
you said, the entire cast and crew is just absolutely amazing on this show.
yeah, they are. One of the nice things that happened as well on my first day in the church for the immolation, uh, uh, David Elliott and I had worked together when he was still in school in Toronto, um, back in 1982. We did a production of The Crucible.
Okay.
I was in the
And
Crucible.
pardon me? You
I
know
was
it?
in the Crucible. Yeah.
Um, and we spent a lot of time in the dressing room together because there were two men students, two women students from the two local acting universities, uh, and we all had, relatively small parts in the show. So we spent lots of time together. Anyway, so we kept in touch sort of as things went on. And then after he was at Stratford, and then went off to become a movie star, a television star. So it was just really nice to be reunited with him. Um, uh, anyway, yes, yeah, it's blah blah blah. Um, pod. There we are. Uh, how are we doing?
We're doing good.
Yeah.
Uh, I guess the only other question that we'd really like to ask is about the chest prosthetic. Okay, I can't even say the word.
Chest
Prosthetic.
prosthetics.
Yes, that you put on for your
Your little symbol-y
yeah.
thing.
How long did it take to apply? How many days did you have to do it for? So on and so forth.
Uh, I would say it probably took close to an hour and a half, 2 hours to put that on. Um, there was a guy who actually made the prosthetic. And then the wonderful Patrick Baxter was the artist who applied it. His attention to detail and the time um, was quite amazing to go from what the thing was that they got stuck on, and then the shading and the painting and the detail and everything like that. And of course, photos are taken, like every 2 seconds to make sure that you know from one time to the next, because I'm trying to think what the right. It was put on once for our sex scene, be it and Lenore. It was put on once for that. Then it was put on another day when we thought we were going to get shot in the grist mill. But it ended up not happening. A decision was made not to do it after all. So it came off again. And then I guess the third time was for that last day. Yeah. Yeah. That's it, because that would be the only time that it would be really, really seen is in the mystery garb. And I did, yes, I had to. I'm not a particularly hairy person, but I did need to shave, each time. Um, and and then it was like a laborious, probably 45 minutes to take it off as well, because you can't just rip it off. So it had to, be put with solvent, a little bit at a time, a little bit at a time. Anyway, but they did a great job. Yeah.
Yeah, Patrick's work is always amazing. We've been following him straight through 'cause he does From as well, which we cover.
Uh-huh. Yeah, yeah. No, he's a lovely man. Um, well, they all were. It was a very welcoming. I think it's actually the longest chunk of time that I've spent working, 3 months, over a period of 3 months. Um, um, so it was really, really nice to be a part of that family, and also very, very nice to be there on the very last day of shooting.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah, it was very exciting.
So I have a random question. Looking through your Internet Movie Database page and looking at your credits, I happen to notice that you were in a show called Tech War. I was very curious if you happened to meet William Shatner.
No.
Mm.
Was he one of the producers of that, of Tech
Well,
War?
he actually wrote the book,
Oh,
and
oh,
he
right.
actually I think he was actually in the series as well. So yeah.
No, no, I didn't know. I didn't get to meet him. That would have been something where, his stuff would have been shot like quite separately, on a totally different day when nobody else was working. I also did a series called Psi Factor: Tales of the Abnormal, or
Mm.
whatever it is, that Danny Aykroyd was a part of it. I think he was the announcer, and I think he may have had something to do with writing it. But and so a part of each episode, he would talk about different kinds of paranormal instances and events. But that again was shot probably in Los Angeles while we were shooting back in Toronto. Yeah. Um, and no, no, I haven't met Bill Shatner. Uh, what an amazing, yeah. He's quite a personality. He really is. I certainly loved Boston Legal. Did
Mm.
you ever watch that?
I did watch that. Yeah.
Yeah. Denny Crane.
Hmm.
Yeah. So what happened? What's up for you? Oh, okay, go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say that we're probably out of questions, but what were you about to say?
Oh, I'm just curious what you guys are up to next. I mean, what happens with the rest of your evening? And what do you have on tap for tomorrow?
I'm probably going to bed. uh, but tomorrow I'll probably be like editing. Yeah,
Lots of editing.
yeah.
Let's see, when is this dropping? This is dropping on Thursday. Our next podcast to come out after this video is going to be the season finale of The Institute. Stephen
Don't
King's
know it.
The Institute on MGM Plus. So we've been running these two shows simultaneously.
I see. I
Yeah.
see.
We always have a number of different things we're working on.
Oh, that's great. I think it's fabulous. How long have you been doing this?
About 3 years.
3 years for the podcast proper.
Fabulous. That's great.
We're closing in on 300 episodes.
Right. Okay.
Sounds crazy to say that out loud.
That is crazy. How did you get together?
Well, we've known each other for
we've been
like 30 plus years,
like best friends since high school, basically.
Yeah. Right.
And we share a passion for television and always end up talking about our favorite shows. And we said, let's just do a podcast.
Why not? And obviously it's successful, right?
Yeah, it's growing.
It looks like it.
Yeah.
Who knew?
Good. Well, congratulations, and thank you very, very much for having me, and thank you for caring about Revival.
Yeah, and you did such a great job bringing Lester to life. Amazing watching you in this show.
Before you go, is there anything you want to plug? Any projects that you're working on right now that you want to talk about?
Nothing that I can talk about.
Gotcha.
It's surprising how many. I think there are 2 NDAs that I have signed recently, just to be able to, just for the audition and then, getting cast. I'm doing another stage play where I play, an old white guy who dies. It's a wonderful play by a Canadian playwright called Flight Risk. Where I'm 99 years old in a retirement home. I was a tail gunner in a Lancaster bomber in World War II. And my birthday is coming up in the course of the play.
You're going to be 100?
I'm going to be turning 100, yes, in the play. And there's a matron who is runs the home, the administrator, and there is a young nurse who's doing her practicum by coming to visit people, and she is kind of assigned to look after me because I have a habit of leaving at night. I'm a bit of a risk, a flight risk, but it also ties into having been in the bomber. Anyway, and it's the relationships that develop there, and I've now been able to read through the script once without crying myself. So it's a very moving piece. Anyway, that's what I'm doing. Yeah. Thank you very much for having me.
Of course. Thanks for coming on. Thanks for giving us your time. It was a wonderful conversation. Some interesting insights there. So absolutely. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dave. Thank you, Stacie.
And that was our conversation with the legendary Peter Millard. Some pretty fascinating stuff there. Always fun to talk to some of these actors from these shows that we love.
Absolutely. Peter was amazing. Yeah, we got some insights on Lester and what it was like to film that grist mill scene. Wow, that was fun.
Yeah.
Thank you again, Peter, so much for hanging out with us. We really appreciate your time. And everybody watching, go watch Revival. Keep watching it. We are still waiting for news about a season 2. It's going to take everybody to just keep watching the show, telling your friends about the show, keep tweeting and talking about the show all over your social media, and let's get a season 2 renewal.
Absolutely. All right. We'd like to hear from you. What'd you think of this interview? What'd you think of this season of Revival? Stacie can be reached at.
I can be reached on Twitter, X, Instagram, Threads, and Blue Sky at TVN Coupon Talk.
If you like this video and want to support the channel, there are ways to do so. You can follow me on Twitter at Korman Productions. You can join the Korman Productions Facebook page. You can buy something from the Korman Productions store on Zazzle. You can buy me a coffee. You can join the Korman Productions membership for 99 cents a month starting at. And of course, you can like, share, and comment on this video as well as subscribing to the channel. This is Dave and Stacie from Korman Productions, signing off.